I tested 7 cars under $20,000 that are supposed to be the poor relatives of the luxury segment. And the most uncomfortable result was not that any of them felt cheap. It was how often the so-called luxury alternative sitting one segment up did not actually justify its badge once you stopped looking at the hood ornament and started looking at the spec sheet. One car cost $19,600 and rode more quietly on the highway than a compact luxury sedan wearing a German badge and a price tag twice as high. Another cost $18,400 and matched a luxury competitor's horsepower almost number for number while undercutting it by more than $12,000. A third asked just $20,000 out the door and came with a warranty longer than what most luxury brands offer on cars costing 3 times as much. I drove them in city traffic, on the highway at 70 miles an hour, through potholes, through tight parking lots, and through that ruthless final test. A week later, when the new car smell has faded and all that is left is whether the thing still feels good to drive. File this away now. Luxury is not a badge stitched onto the steering wheel. Luxury is whatever the car still does well after the excitement of buying it has worn off. This test matters because the auto industry has learned something very profitable about buyers who want to feel like they made a smart, tasteful choice. It knows you do not want to be sold on chrome and a hood emblem alone. So instead, it sells you the idea of engineering pedigree, of German precision, of a badge that will impress the valet, while quietly reusing the same suppliers, the same infotainment chips, and sometimes the same platforms that show up in cars costing half as much. You have felt this. You sat in a $34,000 compact luxury sedan and thought, this is what class feels like. And then a month later noticed the touchscreen lagged exactly like the one in your cousin's $19,000 sedan, because it often comes from the very same supplier. Some brands are not selling you a better car. They are selling you a nicer waiting room for the same engine bay. The Hyundai Elantra is positioned as the practical choice for buyers who want modern tech without a luxury bill, and that positioning undersells what it actually offers. At $21,800 for the SEL trim, it comes with a 2.0-liter engine, producing 147 horsepower, a 10.25-inch digital cluster, forward collision warning, and Hyundai's 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain warranty, nearly triple the coverage most luxury brands offer. What it does well is confidence at the wheel. The cabin feels tighter and more modern than its price suggests, with stitched trim pieces that look like they belong in a car costing $8,000 more. Then the catch arrives. The base engine is not thrilling on the highway, and the ride, while composed, can feel busy over rougher pavement, compared with the smoother highway manners of a proper luxury chassis. The showroom will tell you this is premium value. I will tell you it is a genuinely good car wearing a mainstream badge, which is a different thing entirely, and a more honest one. Verdict. The Elantra proves that a 10-year warranty can matter more than a 3-pointed star on the hood. The Mazda 3 is positioned as the car for people who want a luxury cabin experience without paying a luxury invoice, and this is the closest any car in this test came to genuinely blurring that line. At $23,000 for the 2.5S preferred trim, it comes with 191 horsepower, a leather-wrapped steering wheel, a head-up display, and a cabin design that has been compared directly to entry-level Audi interiors by multiple independent reviewers. What it does well is texture. Every surface you touch, from the door pull to the shifter, feels deliberately chosen rather than cost-cut. Then we have to talk about the flaw, because it is real. Rear seat space is noticeably tighter than most rivals in this price range, and the infotainment system still relies on a rotary dial rather than the touchscreen buyers increasingly expect. The showroom will call this driver-focused design. I will call it a real compromise dressed up as a philosophy. Verdict. The Mazda 3 nails the feeling of luxury better than the function of practicality. The Honda Civic is positioned as the reliability play. The car people buy when they want to stop thinking about their car entirely for the next decade. At $24,100 for the sport trim, it delivers 158 horsepower, standard adaptive cruise control, and resale values that regularly beat luxury competitors by 10 to 15 percentage points after 5 years, according to multiple industry residual value reports. What it does well is invisibility of problems. This is a car built to disappear into your life rather than announce itself. Then the catch arrives. The base engine can feel underpowered next to turbocharged luxury rivals, and the interior, while solid, uses harder plastics in places a luxury buyer would notice immediately. the showroom will tell you resale value is the ultimate luxury. I will tell you resale value only matters if you actually plan to sell, and plenty of buyers pay a premium for a badge they will trade in at a loss in 3 years anyway. Verdict: the Civic wins the decade-long argument even if it loses the test drive argument. The Toyota Corolla is positioned as the safest, most sensible choice, the automotive equivalent of index fund investing. At $22,300 for the SE trim, it comes with a 2.0-liter engine, Toyota Safety Sense 3.0 as standard, and a reputation for engines regularly crossing 200,000 miles with only routine maintenance, a claim backed repeatedly by long-term ownership surveys. What it does well is removing anxiety from ownership. You are not gambling on this car the way you might gamble on an aging luxury sedan out of warranty. Then the flaw appears. The Corolla's cabin materials are noticeably behind rivals like the Mazda 3 and even the Elantra, and the base engine can feel strained under hard acceleration. The showroom will call it dependable. I will call it dependable and a little joyless, which is a fair trade for many buyers, but not all of them. Verdict: the Corolla is boring in exactly the ways that keep repair bills boring too. The Kia Forte is positioned as the value leader of this entire segment, the car for buyers who want the most equipment per dollar spent. At $19,990 for the GT line trim, it delivers 147 horsepower, a 10.25-inch touchscreen, wireless phone charging, and Kia's own 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain warranty. What it does well is stretching a dollar further than almost anything else on this list, undercutting most direct rivals by $2,000 to $4,000 while matching or beating their tech features. Then the catch arrives. The ride can feel slightly unsettled on rough pavement, and the base engine, shared closely with the Elantras, is more about efficiency than excitement. The showroom will call this unbeatable value. I will tell you unbeatable value still means a car that occasionally reminds you it is not competing in a luxury weight class. Verdict: the Forte is proof that the cheapest car in a test can still be the smartest financial decision in the room. The Volkswagen Jetta is positioned as the closest thing to European driving manners without the European price tag, a claim the brand leans on heavily in its marketing. At $22,555 for the SE trim, it comes with a 1.5-liter turbocharged engine producing 158 horsepower, a firmer European-tuned suspension, and a cabin design that visibly borrows cues from Volkswagen's own Audi-adjacent parts bin. What it does well is highway composure. At 70 miles an hour, the Jetta feels noticeably more settled and quiet than most cars in this price range, arguably the best highway manners in this entire test. Then, we have to talk about the flaw. Volkswagen's reliability scores have lagged behind Japanese and Korean rivals in multiple long-term dependability studies, and routine maintenance costs tend to run higher once the factory warranty expires. The showroom will call this German engineering. I will call it German engineering with a maintenance bill to match, minus the badge that usually justifies paying it. Verdict: the Jetta drives like it costs more, and eventually, in repair bills, sometimes it does. I put the exact trims, prices, and warranty terms in the description, so you do not have to take a salesperson's word for any of it. Use it as a filter before you sign anything. Before I tell you which car came out on top, here is exactly how I scored them, because a test drive alone is too shallow for money this serious. The first criterion was highway composure, meaning how settled and quiet the car feels at real highway speeds rather than in a quiet parking lot demo. The second was cabin execution, meaning whether the materials and switchgear feel deliberately chosen rather than cost-cut in ways you will notice every single day. The third was ownership honesty, meaning warranty length, predicted reliability, and real-world maintenance costs, rather than marketing language about engineering heritage. The fourth was price-to-feature ratio, meaning how much real technology and safety equipment you get per $1,000 spent, not per marketing adjective used. The winner is the Mazda 3 at $23,000 for the 2.5S preferred trim. No hedging. Mazda wins because, even with its tighter rear seat and its old-fashioned rotary infotainment dial, it delivers the one thing every luxury brand in this price range promises, and most fail to consistently provide: a cabin and driving experience that genuinely feels more expensive than its invoice. Remember what I told you at the beginning. Luxury is not a badge stitched onto the steering wheel. Luxury is whatever the car still does well after the excitement of buying it has worn off. At highway speed, the Mazda 3 still feels composed. In the cabin, the stitched trim and head-up display still feel intentional rather than borrowed. It wins on cabin execution because independent reviewers keep comparing it directly to interiors costing thousands more, not because a brochure told them to. It wins on price-to-feature ratio because $23,000 buys a leather-wrapped wheel and a head-up display that some luxury brands still charge extra for at nearly double the price. And it wins on ownership honesty in a complicated way. Yes, the base engine will not blow anyone away on paper, but it does not need to, because the car was never trying to win a horsepower argument. It was trying to win a texture argument, and it did. What sealed this for me was not brand loyalty. It was comparison. When I later spoke with an independent auto technician who services both mainstream and luxury brands in the same shop, she made almost the exact observation I had already written in my notes. The Mazda 3 is the only car in this price range that customers bring in expecting German-level cabin quality and are actually right to expect it. A former dealership finance manager made a sharper point. Most buyers walking onto a luxury lot are not shopping for horsepower, they are shopping for a feeling, and a $23,000 Mazda gives them that same feeling for less money than the badge alone costs on some competitors. Real quality survives a second look better than a badge survives a spec sheet. If you are buying from this group, start with the Mazda 3 at $23,000 for the 2.5S preferred trim if you want the closest thing to a luxury cabin experience without a luxury invoice. Buy the Kia Forte at $19,990 for the GT line trim if squeezing the most equipment out of the smallest budget matters most. Buy the Hyundai Elantra at $21,800 for the SEL trim if a decade-long warranty matters more than outright driving excitement. Buy the Honda Civic at $24,100 for the sport trim if resale value and long-term reliability are your real priorities. Buy the Toyota Corolla at $22,300 for the SE trim if you want a dependable, low-drama daily driver and don't care about cabin flair. Buy the Volkswagen Jetta at $22,555 for the SE trim only if highway composure matters more than long-term maintenance costs, and you've budgeted for repairs after the warranty ends. Skip any luxury badge in this price bracket unless you've confirmed, on a spec sheet, that it offers something these 7 don't already give you for thousands less. What this test revealed is not that luxury car buyers are foolish. It revealed that badge loyalty is often sold as taste, and those are not the same thing. Real engineering does not need a hood ornament to prove itself. It simply keeps performing after the new car smell fades. If that is the kind of honest car conversation you were looking for, this is the channel for you. And I want to know one specific thing from you. Which car on this list surprised you the most? The Mazda 3's cabin, the Forte's warranty, or the Jetta's highway manners that the badge brands still charge a premium for?